Hello. Okay, I did at least one Telecaster video already, but this one I can go a little off topic because it's an older model. So chances are, if you're looking for this one, you're not necessarily in the mode where you're like, should I get the new Vintera one or should I get the new player one? You're kind of looking around for maybe, used options and things like that. So it won't seem too nonsensical if I don't just point out the bits of the guitar and leave it at that. But I will point out the bits of the guitar, of course, because that's the whole point of the videos or whatever for people who aren't familiar with specific products. So you can see right off the bat, it's standard Telecaster headstock. It has the truss rod adjustment here instead of under the neck like the vintage style ones. We have the maple top with a very satin finish, not any of that more modern gloppy stuff. It's one of the reasons why I'm going to be talking about customization and stuff later, because I don't necessarily want to get rid of this neck, even though the body is a lot thicker than some of the newer or even older or almost any Telecaster. It's like a full 2 inches here, and it's very dense wood. This is the series that predated the player series, and I don't know what difference they've made in the wood between this series and the player series, so I can't really do a proper head-to-head here. I can compare it to an Affinity or whatever, if that does you any good. I think a lot of those kind of shootouts are pointless. If you're buying a Squire, it's typically because all you can afford is a Squire. This is going to still cost you more than a Squire. It's got a very beautiful, distinctive wood grain pattern that I haven't seen on any other Telecaster, which is why I'm kind of reluctant to part with even the body, except that it weighs more than a lot of Les Pauls. And this stuff is, 15 years old or something now, so it's getting a little worn, but I do like the pickups. I don't know if this is the ceramic pickups, but they do have a lot of kind of bite to them, a lot of growl. I guess some people consider a Telecaster more of a country instrument, in which case, if you're playing country music, you're back in your bridge position and you're doing a lot of that kind of twangy sound, or maybe in the middle. This would be a much better blues guitar. If you go to the neck, this little pickup that doesn't look like much actually has quite a bit of growl to it. I'll put on the amplifier and hopefully we get some decent sound without too much distortion. So if I'm just playing E, you can hear there's a lot of low, whereas if I go high, that's your twangy area with your, that's about as most treble as it gives. So not a super high treble there, whereas, a higher E is that. And then the middle kind of loses a lot, loses a lot of the bite in the middle, but also loses some of the presence. See, so either extreme has a lot more on this particular one than the middle, whereas a lot of guitars I like the middle. This one, it's kind of like, nah, it's more either or. The middle is very kind of nondescript. Whereas, like I said, I get a lot of decent bass out of the neck. But here, when you're talking about upgrades, here you just have the Stratocaster kind of saddles and none of the ashtray and the bridge and all that, and with none of the bridge cover and any of that kind of thing. And you got the string through. They did an okay job with this. I really wish these were more inset. It's got the square plate instead of the rounded ones that came later. It's got the typical cutaway. So yeah, one of the things I was looking at is, should I get the Performer where you get a more traditional deal here, but then you still want to upgrade to the better brass saddles or whatever, or should I get the Pro where you're definitely not getting this neck, you're getting a thinner neck, you're getting the better here, you're getting maybe the better here, but I do like the Performer Yosemite pickups from the videos I've heard. I don't know if I like them more than these ones though. For like I said, this thick body and these pickups really does very well if you want that low end growl, and that's just playing through a clean amp. So obviously I wasn't trying to show off any real songs or anything. Or some guys like to play them on the video just regular and feel resonance or vibration here or whatever. You do get some, but it's a very thick, body on this particular. Like I said, I don't know if all of them are this thick. I thought about trying to see if I could, maybe do a thing, but with the jack here directly in the center, I don't know how much you could shave off the back. Because I was looking at some of the kind of chambered ones to relieve some of the weight, and not the thin line ones, because typically I don't really like the sound of the thin line ones. But it seems like a lot of them, what they like to do is they like to chamber it from the top and then put a top on it. I don't know why you couldn't go from the back and put a new back on it and kind of shave it down, but I don't know how that would affect the string tension. And I was just in a guitar store the other day where it would have been the perfect place to ask these kind of questions, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time, and so I didn't ask any of these kind of questions. So yeah, I don't know. So the one guy I talked to, he said you could kind of chamber it out underneath the pick guard and hide it, but it wouldn't really, relieve that much weight. And I don't know how much it would affect the sound, but typically with a little more resonance, I don't know. You get a little more full body maybe to a guitar that obviously works, with a semi-hollow body, maybe better than a big thick thing like this that you're trying to make imitate a hollow body. That's why, like I said, I never really heard a lot of thin line ones that I really like, so I didn't buy a thin line one. I bought the big chunky thing. But I thought it looked kind of like the Bruce Springsteen guitar, and it turns out his isn't, I guess, even a Fender, and his also has the Nashville pickup third one in the middle or something. I don't know. But anyway, so you got your dot inlays. You got, on this one, I got decent fret ends. I didn't ever have a problem with these. I'm sure this is plastic. The tuning pegs are just your regular tuning pegs, nothing too dramatic. One string tree way down low, though. This is kind of like the 50s style ones, so I don't know if on the player ones they've put an updated string tree that's more elevated, probably. A lot of people just swap out necks, and so when you swap out the neck, you have a different string tree. But I like this neck, and it does have the skunk stripe again, and the what do you call it? Like I said, the truss rod in the top. This one, I've tried to get it to film on this camera before. You can't really see it. It has a little bit of that graying already, whereas the rest of the body's totally clean because I pretty much babied it. But yeah, a lot of people pay extra now for guitars that have this kind of gray. Maybe you can see it better here. Yeah, there you can kind of see it. A lot of people are paying for that gray shadow effect now that I already got for, free just owning the thing. So I don't know what is the advantage or disadvantage of having a guitar that, looks kind of beat up here and then not beat up at all here. I don't know. And I never really liked the white pick guard, but I never bothered to swap it out. And I always liked the rosewood neck more, but I thought with this color of a body that the maple looked fine. So it was the only one like it at the store, so I grabbed it and I still have it, and I don't know if I'll ever sell it, or if I'll tear it apart and try and customize it, or if I'll buy a whole separate custom one, because I don't think Telecasters are the kind of guitar that should cost more than $800, because they're pretty simple guitars. It's like 2 pickups and a switch, But some people are willing to pay $5,000 for a Telecaster or $30,000 for a Telecaster. I don't know. Questions, comments. Like I said, in the near future, I'll have some kind of update on if I, did any customization with this or not. I bought a slightly nicer pick guard for it that I don't know if I'll bother to put it on or not. We'll see. I might take this all apart and use this body for wall art. I don't know, or maybe I'll try and sell the body separately. Or maybe I'll end up selling the whole guitar if I find one that is absolutely way better for, less than a ridiculous price. But yeah, like I said, if you're, looking around for used guitars, you might think this is acceptable more than the Player series or less than the Vintera series or way less than the Performer series. I don't know. See what you can find.